What's up, guys? So, got some line boring here. Well, first of all, we've got this trash bucket. I call it trash bucket. It's used in a landfill. And luckily, I had to replace the sides and the floor. So, because of that, I'm now able to get all my bearings in here a lot easier. So we decided to line bore these holes before we cut each section out and replace it. So basically these holes are all blown out, and the pin on this side broke in half, rendering this inoperable. You can see some of the damage in there. So we're going to just overcut this a little bit and put a larger diameter pin in there. And then this is the bottom part, and those hydraulic rams mount in here. And also you have the pivot point, which mounts here, and that's where the pin was broken. Then the rams mount up here. Then the whole bucket can tip forward, and it's full of cracks. And we've been working on this thing, trying to get it done. So we're just gonna cut these out so that the pins are a little bit bigger, should be a little bit stronger. And we've got some brand new chrome bar here. Put these in a lathe in a minute, and we'll chamfer the edges and stick it in the middle to drill the hole for the set screw. And here's some Climax bearing mounts. We're going to use these reducers to drop in here so I can run my 1.25" bar, because my 2.25" bar will not fit in those holes. So basically, this bearing is made to run a 2.25" bar inside here, and then this slides inside there, and then I can run a smaller bar. So you could do the same thing with all different types of bars as long as it's smaller than 2.25. So that's what's going on with that. And we'll get set up on this line boring, and then I'll show you the setup. Here's a shot of sliding the small bar reducer in there, and you just take this ring, just like that. And that just reduced that down from 2.25" to 1.25". Now I'm going to put that on all 4 of my bearings, because we're going to use all 4 bearing mounts on this, and then we can get them tacked up there. Okay, so we got our bar, we got our centering cones, which is going to get us a rough center, and then we've got our universal mounts. We got them kind of set about where I want them, so you could reach in there and get a tool or something if you wanted to. So when we get these tacked on, we'll tack these mounts on here, and then we'll come in and we'll put 2 more bearings on the inside, and that should be pretty rigid. Now, obviously, this bar is not long enough to have the drive unit on it and cut and feed and everything through all of these. This is a 6-foot bar. Ideally, I would have a 1.75" 8-foot bar, and I could just, you know, make one pass and cut all this. I don't have that bar, so I'm making what I have work. Doesn't require you don't have to weld these out out all the way. You know, if you have like a one weld on one side and one on the other, and that bracket can't really twist, that's all you really need. Especially we're gonna put 4 bearings in here, so it's gonna be really like stout, and each one of these individually is really not gonna have that much stress on it. Okay, we've got these tacked on. We got our cones loose now. Bar spins, and one thing, right after you tack everything on and you tighten these down, you want to check to make sure that the bar is not like binding on the bearings. And if you can move this by hand real easily right here around the bar, then that's not binding. And this side, it's a little bit harder, but it's not too hard. So I'm gonna say it's good. All right, now we're gonna check to make sure that the bar is dead center in here, or as close as we can. These holes are pretty jacked up, so we're gonna use our dial indicator and we're gonna sweep the inside of this. Okay, so we've got our dial indicator, we've moved it around, and we've moved these adjustment screws here, which basically can move this around. After you get these tacked, you can then come through and do a fine-tune adjustment with these, and that's what I really like about the Climax bearing mounts. So we've swept this side, we've swept this side, and we've got it to as close to center as I can get with the holes the way that they are. So we're gonna lock these down, and then now we can, after you center those, now we can get our bearings in the center here. Okay, we got our bearings in the center tacked on. I guess these could have been on the outside, or those could have been on the inside. I don't think it really matters. And I did run this one more time through here, because these did make the bar sag a little bit when I put it in there. So I ran that through there, got that all centered, and then now we're gonna get the motor, the drive, and all that stuff hooked up, start cutting. All right, we're almost done cutting. We got those top ones done. You got that side's done. Just have right here to cut, and then we'll be done with the cutting on this. This is the insert I'm using. Seems to work pretty good. There's gonna be no bore welding in this video. So next job I get that requires bore welding, I'll do a more detailed line boring bore welding video. This is pretty much just kind of an overbore, put bigger pins in it type job. Just trying to rush through it. All right, we got all of our boring done. See our pins fit nicely. It didn't come out too bad. So now we're gonna take these pins and we're gonna just put a little chamfer on the end to break the edge. Then we're gonna put them in the mill, and we have to drill a hole all the way through them. It's like the bolt that holds the pin in there. So I'll get set up on that, and I'll show you guys how that works. Okay, we got our pin, we got a 9/16 drill bit. We're gonna use 1/2-inch bolts to secure the pins in there. So we're gonna go 3/4 of an inch over, and then that's where we're gonna drill it. I pre-drilled this one, seems to work a little bit better. Well, she's done. I know in the last clip that you guys probably saw, it probably looked like some scrap metal. And now you can see we got all the sides on, got lifting tabs. There's plenty of runs in the paint, so don't judge me on that. I'm a welder, not a painter, but I will paint if I need to. I think it looks pretty good. And then those are the holes that we line bored. Pins fit nice and tight. Everything worked perfectly right there. Obviously, I'm not going to paint the inside because it's just going to get wore out again immediately. I know I didn't show a whole lot on the particular process of rebuilding the bucket. I really only showed the line boring. That's kind of what I was going for. The bucket was kind of a job, not a side job, but just a job that was going on in the shop for a while. And, you know, I wasn't the only one working on it. So it would be hard for me to like show you from start to finish everything. So I figured I would just do a line boring video on it. And then, you know, I'm sure I'll get something else like this. Maybe I could do a more in-depth video on a full bucket rebuild like this if you guys are interested in that. So that's it for now, and stay tuned.